Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The Michigan Wolverines are under fire, and the new details are kind of trickling in every single day. We see the video of the Michigan sideline against Ohio State, basically calling their signs out while that was happening. We've heard, the guy bought 30 tickets to every game, all the CFP contenders except for TCU, which is absolutely hilarious. That's absolutely bona fide hilarious. They lose to TCU, and that's the only team that they did not scout like this. But what's your take? I mean, we obviously don't have the full details. I'm kind of this thing that like Michigan might become the sacrificial lamb here simply because maybe there is something that they do that is technically cheating, but it's also something that 20 or 30 other teams are currently doing, maybe even more than that throughout college football. And it does kind of remind me of the Spygate scandal in Houston when Houston was the sacrificial lamb because there were 10, 15 other teams doing the same thing. And that's why I always think it's funny because like, the Dodgers will blame that, that's why we didn't win the 2017 World Series. The Dodgers were doing the same thing. The Red Sox, who won the World Series the next year, they were doing the same thing. Like there were other teams that got caught doing this, and there were other teams that it was known around the league that were doing this. Houston just got to be the sacrificial lamb. Are we going? And then also I'm interested in when the details come out, how crazy is this thing going to be? Because it can't just be like what we've learned so far, I don't think, and they get a huge penalty. But I think it could end up coming out, all the details, and we're like, whoa. That's a little sketchy.
Okay, a couple of thoughts. Houston being a sacrificial lamb is kind of an overstatement. They got a slap on the wrist.
They did get a slap on the wrist. But I think the reason they probably got a slap on the wrist is because MLB recognized there were a lot of other teams doing the same thing.
And that is my second point, that it's not just 30 college football teams doing this. Everybody and their mama has a sign, not a sign stealing operation. They are just trying to figure out, whether it's checks at the line of scrimmage, whether it's, and I didn't play college football. I've never been in an NFL locker room or an NFL plan. I've just heard plenty of people who have say this exact thing. And this isn't just this moment. This has been the case for years, that the NFL has whole segments of guys who are, trying to. Jeff Saturday said it today on ESPN that they had Peyton Manning, or Dominique Fox was talking about to Jeff Saturday about Peyton Manning, how they spent hours trying to figure out Peyton Manning's checks at the line of scrimmage, and that they didn't hear a single word when they ended up playing him because they changed the words, they changed the verbiage every single week so that teams didn't have that advantage. And if you don't think that somebody at LSU, at Alabama, or all these other schools, Ohio State even, has a guy with binoculars who is trying to see the guys on the sideline holding up signs, you're absolutely delusional. Now, is it to the extent that Michigan is doing it? I have no idea. But to act like Michigan is the only one doing this is absolutely asinine. You want an easy fix, NCAA? Oh, I'm talking to the NCAA, a bunch of dumb people and tons of power. That's what the NCAA is. Why don't you put a mic in the camera? Now there's no need for the signs or the dumb billboards. That fixes everything. But no, they've gone actively against putting mics in quarterbacks' helmets. So we have these scenarios. Another thing, Jim Harbaugh is a similar figure as, say, Tom Brady or the Patriots are to Roger Goodell and the NFLPA, that they were after the Patriots. Make note, whether the Patriots did something wrong or they didn't. Deflategate was an absolute sham. That is exactly what's happening to Michigan right now. I don't like Jim Harbaugh. I don't like Michigan. But the fact of the matter is football is much different than baseball. To your point, where I heard Deion Sanders say it, and this is perfect. If you know a curveball or an off-speed pitch in general is coming, it helps a lot more than you know when a sweep is coming. The Green Bay Packers told you in the 50s, they told you in 60s that the power sweep was coming. Stop it if you can. Nobody stopped it. They won 4 straight championships. That's the difference between football and baseball. You still have to stop it. You can know it's coming and still have to stop it. Guess what? Michigan knew what Georgia was probably running, and they couldn't stop it. I loved it. I love Kirby Smart's comments where he was like, I didn't think anything was going wrong, because Kirby Smart was focused on the task at hand, where it was Ohio State, mainly Ohio State. It was over there crying their eyes out because they haven't beaten Jim Harbaugh in 2 years. That's the difference, is you got out physical at the line of scrimmage. It has nothing to do, in my opinion, with Michigan knowing what Ohio State was or wasn't going to do, because Georgia proved that it didn't matter.
No, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, obviously, I think everyone, I think this is happening at every program in some form or fashion. I think for the most part, I think it's part of the game. Now we'll see how much Michigan, for the most part, it's part of the game. We'll see how much Michigan went
Real quick,
beyond the line.
Let me preface. So everything I just said was about the information presented, the information that we have right now. Whether it goes deeper, I have no. Back to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. That's kind of why I'm waiting for all this, like, because it does kind of get sketchier and sketchier. But how sketchy is it going to get? Like, if it doesn't get significantly worse past this, like, we're talking about a whole bunch of nothing. And there's millions of plays. I mean, and you look back at that Ohio State Michigan game, they weren't really trying to disguise anything. It was like, we're going to run it up your gut and you can't stop it. And that's just what it is. I mean, they ran all over Ohio State and that's why they lost. I mean, you talked about it. They got out physicaled and then Georgia out physicaled them. And usually the more physical football team wins, no matter if you know the signs or no matter if you don't. I am interested to see how it all unfolds as an LSU fan. I mean, as an LSU fan, thinking about the hypothetical situations, the 2-loss SEC team somehow sneaking into the playoff, it would definitely help if Michigan just got out of there. Like, so it would definitely help. But I think at the end of the day, maybe they get fined for something. Maybe they get some BS punishment that really doesn't affect them that much. But Michigan's too big of a power program. Jim Harbaugh is too big of a figure in this league to go out there and try to take him down unless there is significant evidence of them cheating to a degree that nobody has ever cheated before. I mean, it's going
egregious.
to
it's got to be egregious.
It's got to be I mean, we've got to get into where someone was at practice, like for me to even start thinking, like, if you're just at the game, I mean, listen, he could have been writing down the signs. He could have been doing everything. Like, that's part of the game. You're scouting your opponent. You're scouting the signs. You're doing everything. You got one guy scouting every single player. You got one guy scouting the signs. You got one. I mean, that is literally how football has been going on since I've been born.
What's crazy is we are young enough to still know this, yet you've got 40-year-old lifetime reporters in this league in college football who clearly don't know that. They're freaking out thinking that Jim Harbaugh is just this terrible human being and Michigan should be, death penalty, SMU death penalty. And it's like, this goes on at every single program. What are you guys talking about? And these reporters who are just like, clutching their pearls over this stuff. It's like they don't even know about the sport that they're covering. I feel very strongly about all this as far as the information that's been revealed.
But that is, unfortunately, Alex, that is the case. A lot of people don't. I mean, some of these guys choose to be in sports. Some of them just happen to be in sports. All of them were journalists at something, and who knows what they wanted to cover first, because a lot of them don't know the sport to the degree that they need to know the sport to be covering it. And they think this is some massive, cheating scandal, and it really
they're treating it like Watergate. They're treating it like Watergate.
Real substantial details where I can sit back and say, "Whoa, that's cheating." But based on the information that is given to us today, you cannot be saying what you're saying. You cannot be saying what you're saying. Like, at this point, Michigan is in the clear to me. And if you're complaining about it, you're either a salty fan or you don't know what's going on in the game of football, because these kind of things happen at all levels. I mean, dude. This kind of crap probably happened when we're 12 years old. I had people scouting games at 12 years old.
Yeah.
When I was playing football. I mean, this stuff happens, man. This stuff happens. And if you don't think they were looking at every way that the team motioned, every sign, everything that the quarterback did, and recording it, I don't know what to tell you. Because I was getting this information when I was 12.
It's crazy that these people think that this is as bad as like Watergate or the SMU scandal or anything. I mean, this is a big nothing to me. I have said it on Twitter. I'm saying it right now. And until there's more details, I'm talking egregious cheating that is revealed. I will stand on this statement. That is a big nothing. Everybody is doing this. High school programs are doing this. You're talking about the highest paid coach in the Big Ten. Millions of dollars are on the line. $1 billion industry. And you don't think that they're doing a little videotaping on games? You guys are delusional. Delusional.
And as an opposing team, and I'm going to wrap it up with this, as an opposing team, if you don't know this is coming and you're not changing your signs, you're just being an idiot. You are just being an absolute idiot. Shame on you. You deserve to lose. If that's the reason you think you deserve to lose. Coming up after the break, we're going to stay in the college football realm. Georgia, Florida, we're going to break it down.